I'm Saskia, I'm one of the women's officers.
And I'm Rachel, and I'm co-chair of the Amnesty Group, so we've been running the campaign together for your organized feminism, which a lot of you guys have been involved in. Some of the photos were just up. Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
Okay, yeah, this is basically a celebratory event for the success of the campaign, York Needs Feminism, which we've been running to try and raise awareness of why we still need feminism at the University of York and in general. It's been inspired by the global campaign Who Needs Feminism, as well as campaigns by other universities like Cambridge, who are represented here tonight.
And although we had a massively positive campaign in the whole, we did have quite a lot of backlash, which we possibly naively didn't really expect in the first place. We had trolls from as far as Minnesota. They got all the pictures, every single one going through. And so we're going to discuss whether or not that was overly optimistic of us to expect not to have to censor comments, because we ended up having to, because they were like personally offensive. And so that's one of the things we're going to be discussing with the panel, who have various kinds of experience in that kind of field as well. Oh yeah, and so we'd like to introduce from the far side, we have Jen, Becca, Emily, Subi and Polly from those Pesky games, who are a kind of YouTube feminist blogging network group. And then we have Susie from Cambridge Needs Feminism, who kind of spearheaded the campaign in the first place that we've obviously kind of molded ours on here. And then we have Alison and Molly, who are only 13 years old, who are astounded by, and who started the York Campaign for Body Confidence, which is a kind of local level campaign, which is really quite incredible, and they'll tell you more about that themselves.
So hi, I'm Susie. I've been this year's Women's Officer at Cambridge University, so I'm part of the student union there. I know you guys have Women's Officers too, so you know I do. Yeah, so Oxford took part in that whole big, like, I need feminism because photo campaign, and we decided that we were going to do it in Cambridge, but we didn't really want it just to be like Oxbridge's like little game. So we decided to talk with the local uni, Anglo Ruskin, who've just set up an amazing new feminist society, and they're doing really, really great stuff. So we've got this kind of Cambridge-wide, as in Cambridge City-wide, Cambridge Needs Feminism, and we did amazing. We got like 700 photos because we were super, super persistent and just like stood in like 2 places for 3 days solidly for 5 hours a day. Being like, come on, come on, come on! And it was amazing. And we had to be quite, well, I'll talk about the kind of censorship stuff as well, because it is really interesting, like backlash, censorship, people. But the worst thing that I'll just say, just to show how like irritating people are, even in real life, not even online, is some dude came up and this girl was writing like, I need feminism because something, and he comes up and he puts his hand on her back and goes, hey, I'm a player. And it was just like a massive irritating, and was like, you've got nice, and proceeded to be like really, really rude. And then this amazing woman just came up to him and went, do you know that what you're doing is sexual harassment, and if you don't leave right now, I'm going to call the police? This box is a bit like higher on the pole. So yeah, so people in real are bad too, but also obviously 750 people are amazing.
We're those Pesky Dames, and we are Becca's baby.
I'm the friend. Yeah. So, well, we're a kind of a YouTube, a vlogging collective. We make YouTube videos about feminism. We sort of started about 1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
We were doing daily videos, so each of us had a day, so we would upload a video we'd choose a topic for the week, and each upload a video discussing that topic. And then on the weekend we tried to encourage people to our subscribers to submit guest videos, because one of the things that's really important to us is to kind of get a wider conversation going around the topics, rather than, because there's only like 5 of us. Yeah. We can't ever hope to represent all of feminism.
I mean, because YouTube's quite a hostile place towards feminism, so we just kind of wanted to be a safe space platform for women to voice their views.
And we've been on BBC Three.
Oh, yeah. And we were hairy on BBC Three.
And in Poland and Australia now, apparently.
Poland?
Yeah.
And yeah. And in a gossip magazine. We were hairy in a gossip magazine.
We had Shannon.
Yeah, they gave us champagne.
And we showed our armpit.
And then they put an advertisement of a razor next to
Next
ours.
to us.
Like, hey, look at these hairy women.
Now
You
shame.
think about buying a razor? Yeah.
Cool, big hand for our panel. Okay, so we've got a few questions in a row that we're going to go through with the panel, and then we're going to throw it open to the floor. So keep thinking about any questions that you might have. So the first one, which I think we'll direct at those pesky dames, is how did you begin your campaign online, and sort of what part has online activism sort of played in your campaign generally?
Me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Becca.
We call her Mama Jane.
Yeah, because I'm the mum. And yeah. So, well, I mean, it started because the uni that me and Holly went to, work uni, had like a kind of feminist weekend teaching conference thing that was amazing. And afterwards we were all talking about how we kind of wanted to continue the conversation and start, at the time we were thinking maybe like a blog or a zine or something, and it kind of like sort of nothing really happened. It kind of bubbled around and we all wanted to do something, but I think for a while. And then I started watching YouTube videos because I didn't realise that YouTube was a thing. I just thought it was like cat videos. And I was like, oh no, people like do shows and stuff on YouTube. And then I sent a Facebook message to people that was like, does anyone want to do a feminist YouTube? And yeah, some people did, and that was amazing.
Yeah, that was really nice. Becca and Holly got in contact with me because I know them through mutual friends. I brought Emily in, and then one of the girls who originally was on those pesky dames dropped out because she couldn't do it anymore, and we recruited online and very luckily found CB.
Found me on the internet.
Yeah.
But still, my housemate knew you.
Yeah.
So, because feminism is a tiny. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, I think like obviously just because of like our format and our platform, like the internet is just like the biggest deal sort of for us because it's how we reach out to people and it's how we like actually start these conversations with people. And so I think it's, yeah, we pretty much we wouldn't have those pesky dames without like being able to have YouTube and use those kind of formats. So it's been really helpful and amazing.
And what is your most positive experience online so far? And we're going to go from the other end.
I think one of the nicest experiences so far has been, I got an email from like a 14-year-old girl who said her friends were making fun of her because she didn't have a boyfriend and things like that. And she said those pesky dames had really helped her become like more confident and deal with like street harassment and stuff there, which is a really lovely, big R, that was a really
one for me, which I got really overexcited about. Basically, my very first video that I did with those pesky dames was on female role models, and I talked about my mum and a woman called Stacey Ann Chin, who is like this amazing like slam poet, feminist, incredible person, and like super activist. And so I talked about her on my video, and then like when was this? Like a couple of months? Yeah, a couple of months ago. Something like that. She messaged us on Facebook saying like keep up the good work, and I literally was crying. Oh. So, yeah, that was like super encouragement for just to know that like people actually watch our videos and other feminists think we're cool. That's really awesome.
Susie, what about you?
Yeah, I guess mine's slightly different because I didn't set up a campaign with a purpose. I kind of inherited a campaign and then was like, oh, the big problem here is that people hate the word feminism and hate the words women's campaign and hate us. Kind of. Some people I don't mind if they hate us. But yeah, so I was like, I need to make kind of it more accessible, and for those people who are like, oh, feminism, I mean, do I like it, don't I? I need to find a way to help them slip into it and feel comfortable identifying with it. So I set up like a discussion group online, which is basically just like a Facebook group called Discussion Group, and people just post articles on it. And it's grown to about 400 people in 6 months, which is a really big growing. And the most amazing thing is that, as well as like growing and there being this like really serious online community that is like really loving, and I have really strict moderation rules, which I'll talk about later. So it's really safe and really friendly. But it's mean is that in the real world, when we have like our big meetings, we meet up fortnightly. There's always like, it's gone from there being like 4 people to there being like 30, 40, 50. And I feel that's because people have kind of got safer and happier because of online stuff. So that's where online's really great. That's my most positive.
Great. So Susie, why do you think it is that feminism has taken root to such an extent on the internet recently?
Yeah, well, I guess the internet is like the most amazing tool because quite a lot of people have access to it in this country. So for like UK feminism, it's really, really powerful. Not all people, but it's quite, and it allows you to like come up with really innovative ways to like teach people and to like really plug anything. And I think that's the thing, it's like there's so much feminism happening in the UK, like everywhere, and I mean all over the world, but I'm going to cite it in the UK just because of internet accessibility. Yeah, there's so much going on everywhere that like people want to be able to be like, look how amazing what we're doing is, aren't we amazing? And that's the internet. Like that's just like a big trumpet place for us all. So I think that's why, really. And also like virtual communities. I'm really big on virtual communities. I think they're really nice.
Yeah, those Pesky days you chip in.
I don't know, I think part of it is that like for any social movement, like they have to kind of like keep up with technology and stuff, and it only makes sense that like feminism would sort of have a strong sort of root in the internet, not root, like have a strong hold in the internet. And like I think it's kind of it's really important like for feminism to be able to develop and stuff is communication, and communication is like made super easy by all this kind of social networking and like loads of different things like that. So I think it's kind of just, it was a bit of an obvious tool to use to like keep growing a movement and developing and communicating really.
Also, it's the very first, like it is the first generation who's kind of grown up with it. Like I didn't have it when I was younger, but like the people who watch our videos, like we have quite a lot of younger girls and women watching our videos, and like that's just kind of always been a part of their lives, and I think it's really, really kind of a comfortable way to discuss things because that's how people organise their life now. Whereas previously, like it wasn't at all accessible to us at all.
Yeah.
And just moving on from that, the other side, how have you guys dealt with trolls and your politics, Susie?
I mean, I don't love you, but I feel like I found a solution which I really like. Okay. So basically, rather than be like, okay, basically I've decided that trolls are an obvious symptom of patriarchy, and I really don't like them, and they're the same as like street harassment. They're just like a thing that happens when structures are unequal. So I was like, okay, so I need to get to the root of this problem. And the root is how the spaces work. And I was like, oh great, if I put a safe spaces kind of thing and define every single space before I create it online, so like every single space that I've ever made online has like 12,000 rules, being like, you can't do this, you can't do this. If the moderator deems that you have made a woman feel uncomfortable, you will be removed. Just like really, really, really strict rules, and they change depending on the group. But then that means that if someone's just being horrible and repeating stuff, I can literally just say, no, I'm sorry, you're breaching the rules. And then I'm not out of order, and I'm not censoring because I've defined that space. So I feel like that's a really good one. But then I also think it's really important to support anyone who is kind of victim to trolls, because so many times, like when we did our Cambridge News Feminism, you said like about people going and commenting on every single photo, and like how boring a person must be. Like 750 photos, and it's like offensive. And, but I did feel for like so many of the people who were in those photos, particularly like some of them were so brave and had stood there like with a sign saying I'm a feminist. Like for a lot of people that has like real life implications that could be scary and like really, really damaging. So like, I mean, I love my job, but there were so many really sad women as a result of the trolls, because the trolls picked on the women particularly. So I met with like maybe about 20 individual women who'd been really upset by it all, and just like let them know that the online community wasn't just online and that we were real people as well. And So I think like take it seriously, but also set the rules so they can't get in the first place because they are subhuman.
I mean, we all kind of we have a tiny comment policy. It's just like what we say goes.
I do just let them kind of run riot on my videos and then occasionally peer in and go,
We all kind of take the approach of like we all moderate. When we started, we were just like it'll be fine. Yeah. That quickly proved to be ridiculous. We all kind of moderate our own videos, so like we all decide how much we want to do. But so like Holly, for instance, is like would rather just like let them shame themselves with their awfulness.
I never look at mine at all.
But then
I don't want to give them any time, and then
but then for instance, me and Jen have our videos set on comments by approval, so we basically get to decide what gets posted, and then Subi and Emily both
Uncomment approval.
they both have their set on comment approval, but because like they don't necessarily have the kind of time or energy to go through them all, I'll kind of
Because it is
vet them
a really
for them.
emotionally draining process.
it is like to open the inbox and just be like, is this going to be a nice engaging one, or is this something that's going to tell me?
I think support is really important. Like I wouldn't have been able to cope with the negative stuff we've got did I not have these fantastic ladies that help me come through it.
so my mum occasionally chipping in.
Your mum's hilarious.
To the point where a troll actually made a video about my mum. And then just going on about how like those pesky dames like have absolutely no reasoning skills. They had to get their mum to come and fight their side. And my mum was like, just damn right,
It's a generation of feminism.
It's definitely been like alarming, like to how much sort of time and effort like people will spend to make individual videos. It's not just comments. It's like actual really creepy videos.
using our
Really
videos
creepy
and
videos. Yeah.
People
And it's not
have taken our videos, downloaded them, and then interspersed them with clips of themselves. And I had a horrible one where someone imagined going on a date with me and put it online, and then made a hypnol joke at the end of the video. It's been nasty.
But I think the best way that we deal with it is by just supporting each other, because it's like I think that's the most important thing. That kind of stuff like can just get you down, but as long as you've got other people around you to be like don't worry about it, and we're all here for you.
And also followers.
Yeah.
Followers help a lot. Like every time we have like a big like bout of shit in our inbox, we do get a lot of support just being like, carry on, you're great, and we really like appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we want to do is all with the guest videos, because so we all moderate our own videos, but guest videos are always on comment by approval, and we'll all kind of just like all try and
defend
get one
them
of that.
to the death.
I think just trying to create a safe space where people who don't want to upload videos to YouTube and then face the trolls can sort of do it via us, and we can kind of be that buffer zone. So for instance, I know like we've had sort of like guest videos before from like trans people, and I'm just like, there's some of the comments, and I'm just like, no, block. We get loads of comments that like, I know you won't post this. No, of course I won't. Go away.
I think it's true that when you're creating a space for other people, how much you have to protect them, because how brave it, because you know your own feminism and you know your own limits. But when you're saying other people go and show that you're a feminist publicly, if you're giving them that platform, you have to like put barbed wire all around it, and then like stakes, and then like
fire dragons.
Just following off that, do you guys ever think it's constructive to have people that perhaps prove a point in themselves by their comments? And we had a few comments on some of our pictures that initially we kind of thought that we might leave because they proved such a point, and they were so like it wasn't specifically personalised abuse, but it was the kind of thing that can prove a point in itself. So this is exactly why we need feminism. And we had a conversation about whether or not that was potentially constructive for people that were on the kind of sitting on the fence, didn't know whether or not it had a place in Europe particularly. I was wondering if you guys had any experience with that.
I reckon, I don't know, I think sometimes that can be useful, like, just to kind of leave it out there and be like, they've literally just kind of outed themselves as the worst kind of person. But I think it depends, like, when it is a space for other people, and, like, we try to make it a community that people can get involved in, like, it's important that the people sort of on our side are allowed to feel safe. Like, I think it's a bit different if it's like just like you as yourself, just broadcasting your own views, and you can kind of take the horrible comments and stuff. But like we want other people to feel safe to get involved.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
It's not even like contributors. It's going to be like we've had loads of emails from like women all over the world saying like this has really helped me, and if they're going to our videos and then seeing like pages and pages of like shit written by really horrible people saying that like feminism is bullshit, it's misandry, it's like the worst kinds of people, like, you know, what is that going to...
Exactly, and with the York Meets and the I Need Feminism campaigns, it's more like it's giving reasons why feminism should be legitimate. But I think we kind of decided from the start that we didn't want our channel to be something where we're explaining why feminism needs to exist. We're just like, this is what we're talking about on our terms, and you will talk to us about this, or you will talk to us about
I think there's a really like big potential in using their words against them though. Like, I don't leave it in the space because I define what that website's for, but there's recently been a project that's been started called the Invisible Men Project, which is absolutely like harrowing and amazing because it's so educational. It's basically gone on to Punternet, which is a website where Johns, people who pay for sex with money, review sex workers, and my God, they have no limits. They are describing sort of trafficking, rape, just the most awful stuff, and they're describing it as like, lol, I'm just doing my prostitute review. But the way they've done this, they've compiled all of these statements together, and I do recommend looking at it. It's like theinvisiblemen.tumblr or something. It's really, really, really harrowing. So like trigger warnings massively for like all the things bad, like rape and trafficking and massive violation. But it's the most powerful way I've ever seen of words being turned against the people who said it. And I screenshot every single horrible comment that I have seen ever, because I don't know, that's maybe a bit much. But I have like a whole folder, and it's huge, and it's just of all these horrible comments that I've deleted. And my plan is, when I get out of my stupid, long-houred, wonderful job, that I will actually create like a Tumblr with all of their words against them. Because then if you've compiled it, then you see the realities of it, but you know that you're going into that to see it. So I do think screenshot and delete is my...
There's a few of those, like there's I think it's Facebook sexism, and
there's the Xbox Live one as well, like all of the... Because I mean, one of the things that people always say is just that, like whenever you see kind of exposés of how much awful, like how many awful messages like journalists get and things like that, people are always just like, well, that's just one person. Jeez. And then actually when we all come out and say like actually every single one of us has at some point received some kind of rape threat, some kind of death threat, some kind of like daily attacks on our intelligence and our like appearance and families, all kinds of stuff. Like it's just I think
it's hard to deny that it's like not a systemic thing, like it's a problem that is so deeply entrenched, but when you see it all together, it's like, this you can't really pretend that it's just loads of individuals, like...
Okay, well, kind of related to that, I was talking about Cambridge News Feminism to someone I know who's at Cambridge, and she was just like to me, what's even the point? Because the backlash is so huge that it kind of detracts from the feminist cause. So I guess the question is, do you think the campaign is worth the backlash? And how do you deal with that as kind of turn it into something that's more positive?
Can I admit something? That I live in a really nice bubble, and I actually don't know the backlash very much because I just deleted all the trolls. So I don't know, what were people in Cambridge saying about it?
Oh no, I think it's just I don't know, it's kind of like the lad culture thing that goes on in all universities and everywhere. And so
you mean that rather than trolls?
Yeah, like more like kind of physical people. Kind of thinking that it's...
I think I actually quite like the backlash in a weird way, because part of it is about promoting debate, and as much as I hate debate, I do think it's really, really important and great that like all these 750 people, they all have like a really big stake in this feminism thing now, because they stood there and they kind of came out as a feminist. And so they're going to go back to all of their individual colleges, because it's how Cambridge works, and they're going to go like, and then there's going to be these horrible lads being like, oh, well, dude bro, like that. It's going to be horrible. And then this person's going to defend it and going to raise, everyone knows why feminism is still important, like here, so they're going to be able to articulate it and explain it. And actually, as much as that causes loads of brrr and like talking and discussion, people are talking about feminism, which is amazing. And when people have to choose whether or not they identify, when you've made such a clear and articulate campaign, as I think the End Feminism campaign is, and combined with all of the like brilliant work that both ARU Feminist Society and Cambridge Uni from Women's Campaign have done, like I think it was quite persuasive, and I got like gorgeous, wonderful numbers of emails being like, I'm now a feminist. So I think the backlash is like, if some lads want to sit and lad about, like I don't care. But if like 10 more people identify with feminism because of it. But,
I feel as though maybe this is going to be controversial. I don't know. I feel as though a lot of us kind of sit on like the backlash that we do get and the troll comments and things as kind of a way of legitimizing what we do. Because it's kind of, a lot of people say like, well, if they're like going out of their way to annoy you, then it's showing you that like you're doing something good. But like also, I kind of think that in other ways, like talking about the kind of backlash that I'm trying to articulate this properly. Like the backlash that we get, like it's relentless and it's horrible, but it's not the worst that people could do. Like other YouTubers have had to move states, like in America, like they've had to they've been like physically threatened, like, and there have been like, and all other social movements at all other times have been threatened by like the state and by like, and I just kind of think that by talking about like, yeah, okay, it sucks when someone goes online and says like, you're not cute, get on a treadmill, but like, they're not like physically threatening me, and I kind of think that actually the more that we talk about like, oh, trolls are so horrible, we must hide from trolls, it's so horrendous, like it kind of scares people out of action, because actually it's not a really dangerous thing, and I think we could actually get away with a lot more.
Yeah, I think it often has like actually really positive implications, like the idea of, I think it's Lewis's law, which is that the comments on any article about feminism justify the existence of feminism. And I don't know if people are familiar with Anita Sarkeesian. She runs a YouTube channel called Fem Frequency, which is all about a feminist take on pop culture, and she tried to source a project online because she's really into like video games, and she wanted to do a project about sexism in video games, but she needed funding so she could buy games and play them and actually research. And this predictably like pissed a lot of people off, and people hacked her Wikipedia page and like found out where she lived and sent her posts and death threats, and it got really horrible. But the amount of backlash that she got just for wanting to talk about sexism in video games meant her project ended up massively overfunded. Like, she got so much support on the back of all that trolling.
She actually managed to do like a project about 3 times like what she had planned originally. She's made it an entire series, and it's been put into like all schools in America, or like loads of schools in America or something.
Like I think go on.
I I'm going to sort of disagree.
You're allowed to disagree.
Just in terms of saying, I mean, obviously, yeah, we don't have it anywhere near as bad as like it's one of those things that with any, it's kind of, if you're a woman online, if you're a feminist online, and if you're a feminist woman online, like, oh no, woman with opinions, then like the bigger you are and the bigger your audience, the worse the backlash is going to be. So obviously we're not big enough yet. Like the bigger we get, the more backlash we get, and the worse the backlash gets. But I feel like when people, because one of the things that we like, because we've made videos about online harassment, like that's one of the first topics that we covered, and we get comments that's like, oh, you know, it's not, no one's like, oh, it's just a joke. No one, like, they're not actually going to rape you. They're not actually going to like, yeah, they're telling you to kill yourself, but you're not actually going to do it. It's like, well, actually, it's like discounting how that can seriously affect your mental health, like when it is literally relentless, daily, like having like people making comments about your parents, telling you, like literally telling you to go kill yourself, or that they want to rape you because they think that you need to shut up. Like it's not physical, but it's not a thing.
I'm not sure how emotionally invested I am in what I just said, to be fair. I think it's more like, I just look at the history of like the feminist movement, And like, I know it's kind of a tired analogy, but like the suffragettes were like force-fed by like imprisonments. Like, and I just kind of think like talking about trolls and making it out to be like the worst thing that's happening on like to the feminist movement at the moment. Like, I think it just does a disservice to like women who are being raped in the military, women who are like there are so many awful things, and I just kind of think
like there are kind of bigger battles, although it's really important.
They're all in.
Like, in terms of, because obviously like mental health is super important, and like you have to look after yourself, like especially as a feminist online, you have to like be able to say I need to take a break now, I'm not going to answer these trolls, or like I'm just not going to do this for a while, or like I need positive people around me or something. You do need to look after your mental health, and it is like a big deal. Like I also, I think what we can do like in a positive way, like we can use like all of the backlash from whatever we're doing to just fuel us, like, because if you look at the people who are giving you all this shit, and then you also look at the people who you're positively impacting, like you're always making a more of a positive impact. It's just that the trolls are louder, and I think that's like we've got to use those people that we're positively influencing to be like a fuck you to the trolls, and we're going to keep doing this kind of thing. Like you have to like put a positive spin on it, otherwise you kind of get a bit stuck.
And you don't want to give them all the attention of all your resources and all your energy. And
I think that's really important. You have to work out where you're going to put your energy, because my role, women's officer, I'm meant to support the women of the university. So I have no time for like trolling men, because I'm like literally mandated by my job just to support women and by my politics. And like, I don't know, so I would rather spend my energy supporting a woman who'd been raped by a teacher than I would spend my energy like arguing with some prick on the internet who tells me that he knows things rationally. Like
you just reminded me of something that I saw on Twitter or Tumblr the other day, which goes back to Holly, what you were saying about like kind of like it's not the worst thing, but it was someone had made it was based on something called a safety triangle, and it was like something to do with how you have like at the top it was like they based it on like a workplace thing, and it was like at the top it was like death, and then like workplace injury, and it was like going down to kind of like the littlest thing, and it was like 1 death, 10 this, 50 that, and it just gets bigger. And it was talking about how the approach to this and like the approach that had been hugely successful was if you stop if you change the culture at the bottom, you change the big things, like you change the little things, then that stops the bigger things from happening. Like you're changing the culture so that the stuff at the top doesn't happen. And they'd made like a misogyny triangle that was like at the top was death, and then it was like serious sexual assault and harassment, domestic abuse, and then it went further down it, and the bottom was like street harassment, and it's like people, saying shitty things on the internet. And it's, I think, changing that culture is important because it stops the larger things. So
like it's not funny at all, it's actually quite sad, but the funny thing about that is that there's all these disgusting drinking clubs that are just like they have initiations like finger refresher, who can it's just disgusting, like it's disgusting. Like how many knickers from women can you steal and wear around your neck for a day? And one of them, at their garden party, they had a bikini wearing women wrestling in jelly at the end of the drinking party for the gentlemen to enjoy. And this wonderful woman, Nina, she put together a petition, she got 1,000 signatures like that, and the whole thing was called off. And the Wyverns were like, that's the drinking society, we're like, oh, well, we're scared that you're going to release our name into the press and then we can't get into the Bullingdon Club. And so they took it away. And then the trolls decided to be like, oh my god, you're literally so pathetic. Do you realise that there are women being raped in Africa? And she's like, well yes, but we need to, right here.
Why are you talking about this when you should be talking about why?
The trolls really cared. Like, what the hell?
Hi, just moving on. little bit. We were talking about how not everyone has access to the internet, obviously, in the first place, and we're wondering how much of a place do you guys still think there are for physical campaigns, as probably